everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Omnichannel Marketer. This is your host, Kate Stevens. Today, I'm super excited to have Lisa Bubbers, co-founder and chief brand and marketing officer from Studs. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So why don't we just start with a little bit of your own personal background?
Great. So I launched Studs with my co-founder, Anna Harmon, in November 2019. We started working on it about 5 years ago. Prior to that, I was an early stage employee at Home Polish, which was an interior design startup. So I was employee six there. I was there for 5 years. I created that brand and marketing team. I left and became a startup consultant. So I was a consultant for brands that were launching, helping them create their brand identities, their go-to-markets, and for brands that were in market, helping them with their marketing strategies. And then Anna and I really wanted to start a company together, and we were, wanted to bring our talents together. We have very complementary skill sets. Anna went to go get a second piercing, and she was going to have to wait a long time. It was going to be very expensive. It was, not the experience that she wanted. And so I went with her to go get a piercing actually at a tattoo shop. And we had the idea for Studs, and Studs was born.
So I remember getting my ears pierced in the mall at when I was in second grade and kind of going to one of those kiosks. Do you like see Studs replacing that? You also talked about kind of like a tattoo parlor ear piercing. Like, tell me, I'm super curious. Like, where else? Like, what else do you like see that the Studs like fitting in?
Yeah, we, Anna and I both got our ears pierced as children at Claire's at the mall. We're huge fans of Claire's, and we are really focused on Studs pierces 13 up, and we're really focused on a 15 to 35-year-old. Studs pierces with needles, not with piercing guns. And so we have trained expert piercers that use needles. And when you pierce with needles, you can pierce all over the ear anatomy, and needles offer you better precision and safety and healing. And so we're really focused on not a first time piercing customer who is, a child and mom or dad, but we're really more focused on second, third, and fourth piercings and fifth and sixth. And some of our customers have 20 piercings, which is amazing. And I invented the term earscaping to really to talk about the art and science of getting ear piercings that work with your ear anatomy and with your personal style.
So you launched Studs 5 years ago. Where is the brand today?
We have 23 studios today, and we're soon going to open our 24th and our 25th. And so we launched November 2019. We launched Nolita with our first Studs, and now we just opened Flatiron and Rock Center in New York City, and Atlanta's coming up, and so we're excited to keep expanding.
Amazing. That's super exciting. And how have you thought about that expansion? And I also, noticed the timing of your business. You started it right before COVID. There's
hmm
very much an physical element to getting your ears pierced. So how did you build the brand, through those years? And, how do you think about it differently now?
Absolutely. The value prop of Studs is a retail business, and we are an ear piercing business, but we also wanted to create Studs to sort of connect the behaviors of ear piercing and earring shopping. And so prior to Studs, our customer would go to their local piercing parlor or tattoo shop and get an ear piercing, and they would hope that it would heal. They usually wouldn't like the jewelry that was in their ear. They'd be waiting to be able to change it out. Then a certain amount of time would pass. If it healed, they would then go and change their jewelry to fashion jewelry they would buy at a different retailer. They would then go to Urban Outfitters or Shopbop or Madewell, wherever it was, and buy earrings. Our goal was really to connect those experiences in one place, and that our customer would get their ears pierced at Stud with an assortment that they really loved and they would be excited to have in their ear. And they would also buy earrings for their healed holes, both offline and online. And so we really wanted to start with the retail experience. And that was our focus when we launched 4 months before COVID. And so we launched our first store in Nolita, then we launched our second store in Hudson Yards. And then COVID happened and we had to pivot. And luckily, we had on the roadmap to focus on our e-commerce experience. And so we really just went all in on that. And really focused on earring shopping online, on dropping earrings online. And we had a captive audience we had had a really buzzy, great launch. And so we had 4 months of customers that were excited to then shop online with us during those first few months of COVID. Luckily, it was also something that was great for Zoom. There were a few categories that you could really wear while you were socializing and working remotely. And so lipstick had a big moment, earrings were in that, and so that was great. And so we were able to really thrive during COVID and grow our e-commerce business. And then actually, while it felt like a long time at the time, COVID happened March. By September, we were able to reopen the existing stud stores and bring back our team. And we were lucky that you could wear a mask and your piercer could wear a mask. We could limit the number of appointments and you could have a pretty safe and private experience. And at a time when people could not go to weddings, they could not go have their parties, they could not go to sporting events, they could not travel the world, going by yourself or with a friend to get an ear piercing was actually like the thing you could do to feel alive, to feel something, to feel cool. And you could also still show it off on Zoom. And so we didn't know if they would, but they came back for ear piercing during COVID as well. And so we were able to reopen those studios and have a lot of demand during COVID.
Super interesting. And that actually makes a ton of sense. The title of this podcast is The Omnichannel Marketer. Curious to hear how you and how Studs would define the word omnichannel.
Yes, how we define the word omnichannel. For us, that is really about bringing the customer offline, online to offline, and moving the customer between channel. For us, we have retail stores, we have e-commerce, we have a wide assortment of piercing jewelry, and we have the piercing services, and then we also sell earrings online. And so we're really looking for customer behaviors across channel and figuring out how we will drive them between those channels, and where we will get the best LTV.
So
maybe that was a long definition for.
No, that was great. I mean, your business has a very clear in person, but also online component with the earring purchase. So I'm curious how what's working for Studs to drive that behavior offline and online.
Yes, we're really focused on that the last couple years. The first couple years of the business was just about opening stores, get 10 to 12 stores open a year, and really get to scale. And recently we've been really focusing on the omni-channel data and learning more about our customer behavior. Also with ear piercings, as you can imagine, most people, though there are some, are not getting multiple ear piercings a month. You actually need a couple years of the business to mature to actually learn what your omni-channel behavior is. Ear piercings take a long time to heal. The quickest healing is 8 weeks and the longest time is 2 years. And so you can also imagine if you're looking for behaviors like changing your jewelry, you actually have to wait for that. So we have quite a long customer journey. And so to get a little nitty gritty around earscaping and what we offer piercing, and you get jewelry that is specifically designed for ear piercing with a needle, and you have a long post because your ear swells. Over time, your swelling will go down and your post will feel a little bit long. We offer jewelry changes at the stud store where you can get downsized into a shorter post that will fit more snugly, or change out to jewelry you could not get pierced with. You could change from a stud to a hoop. We don't normally pierce with hoops. You could change out the top into something more decorative that maybe we couldn't pierce with. And then you can also buy other earrings for your healed holes. And so what we've learned about our customer, this is not surprising, but the highest LTV is the customer that gets pierced. They have a very high repeat rate, and we also have a very high repeat rate to the next purchase, both online and offline, and a very high repeat rate to a second piercing. And so what we find in general is that our piercing service creates our highest LTV customer, and that what we also find is that we're most likely to move our piercing customer over from offline to online versus the other way around, from the e-commerce customer over to the piercing customer. We do have conversion over from e-com over to piercing, but sometimes maybe our e-com customer has already been pierced. Maybe they are actually at the end of their earscaping journey. Maybe they really just want, hoops and huggies, and they're fine with the 3 holes that they have. And so we find that our offline customer is more likely to move online. And then obviously things like sales, like Black Friday, are a huge omni-channel driver. And also earrings that maybe you could not buy in the store that are exclusively online will move that customer over as well.
So, having that insight, how has that shifted? You run the marketing side of the business. How is that shifting the way that you are seeking to acquire customers? Do you still look to acquire customers across both channels, or is it the majority of your budget goes to the ear piercer? How do you think about that?
Yes, I mean, in general, Studs is a really efficient business. We are driving marketing via opening our stores in the right locations via foot traffic and via word of mouth. The stores themselves are investments in the marketing machine, and the stores themselves pay back very quickly and are profitable at the unit level. And so we are, I think, maybe a little bit different than maybe a direct to consumer e-commerce brand, in which we are not really thinking about marketing dollars digitally to acquire customers. We're thinking about how do we open stores? How do we open stores? That's what really drives our business model. And then in terms of how we position, we are really, really positioned as a piercing company. And so our content and our focus is really on driving the piercing business, because that is the latent demand in the market for what Studs is offering. People are looking for needle piercings, specifically ear piercings with needles. And so we are focused on driving the retail business and driving foot traffic. And then in general, luckily, we do not need to have a lot of digital marketing to drive the business.
When you open a store, how, if I'm looking to get a piercing, how do I typically find you? Is that like, am I doing a Google search, or thus are you doing kind of paid search or SEO? Walk me through the customer journey, and then I'd love to also, go through your journey as from a Studs perspective. How do you pick those locations? What's the process of like determining, and then how do you think through that payback period?
Sure. So we luckily have great organic search rankings. And so so we have two types of customers. We have the customer that's at brunch with her girlfriends and wants to do something fun and it's spontaneous, and they're looking for ear piercing near me right now. And often they are literally walking by a Studs because we have chosen the right location. And we are also near Lululemon and Warby Parker and Van Leeuwen, and we're just in the right area where they're doing all these other things. And so there is a huge impulse. I want to do something fun and spontaneous with my friends, and doing something and Studs is really an experience. And so this is sort of like, this is what we're going to do today, and we're all going to Instagram it. We're going to get matching piercings. It's going to be really fun. And then you have another customer that's like, I'm going to pre-book my appointment. I am building my earscape. I'm thinking about this. It's a long consideration phase. Number one referral source for Studs is foot traffic and word of mouth. So in general, people have an incredible experience. We're a very hospitality focused business. Our team is amazing. So when you come into Studs, it is warm and welcoming. Getting pierced with the needle, you're very nervous potentially. You have a lot of questions. Our team does a great job at putting our customer at ease. And then our piercers are highly consultative. It's super personal, and we'll walk you through the experience and help you choose your piercing. And then it's healthy and safe, and the stores themselves look great. And so people are searching for, where can I get a needle piercing and where is ear piercing near me? And then after their experience, they're like, wow, that was so great. I'm going to tell my friends about it. And so that's kind of how we are mostly driving. We've also had a lot of success in the past with influencer marketing, where we're working with content creators and influencers that are getting piercing and shopping for earrings. But for the most part right now, and we do spend on SEM, but for the most part right now, we are driving the majority of our business organically.
And I also noticed that you said that group of girls, after brunch being spontaneous, and then we're going to Instagram it. So I imagine that like social media sharing from the, users themselves ends up driving that word of mouth as well.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, I designed the Stud stores to be content machines. They're these like beautiful little disco spaceship galleries that are like super fun to be in, but are also a little bit medi spa, very clean and healthy and safe. But they have neon and they're reflective and they're cool. And so I think people are. And then getting an ear piercing, it's not going to the dentist. You do not have to do this. You are getting an ear piercing to change up your look, to do something fun and exciting, to create a little edge. And people are really excited by that. And they do want to make content around it. And so we have a really strong organic content opportunity with UGC for Instagram and TikTok, where customers are and we repost it. And some of the customer content really goes viral. People love watching other people get ear piercings, just like they love watching those people get facials and getting their hair done,
Mm-hmm. And then talk me through your like selection process when you are opening stores and how do you think about the payback period?
Yes, so I think my co-founder Anna, our CEO, leads real estate. But in general, we are looking for places where our customer is, and we have a Gen Z and millennial customer. We actually have a really wide customer. We are represented really evenly across a lot of age groups, but the average studs customer is 15 to 35, really with that Gen Z millennial sweet spot. And so we're looking where that customer is and where they're shopping. We also have a really strong tourist customer. This is something that's really fun to do when you have free time and you're looking for an activity. And so you'll find that we're in places, and we also love a premium lifestyle center. And so we are in Century City in Los Angeles, we're on Newberry in Boston, and we also cluster, we have 6 stores in New York. We have multiple in Boston. And so we are looking for a combination of, are we in the like high street where everyone is doing their shopping? Are we in the premium lifestyle center? And are we where the tourist is?
Has a location ever not worked? And if so, why?
No, we definitely have huge blow it out of the park winners. And then some, I think with studs, we have not had any where we're like, this has definitely not worked. But we have had some that have really blown it out of the water. And I think a lot of that has to do with what's happening with America and with shopping. Dallas is an incredible place to open up a store. That customer is really thriving, really shopping, really spending, loves what's trending. And I wouldn't have known that Dallas was going to be so gangbusters, and it is. And I don't know that I would have known that about Boston either. So some stuff has been quite surprising, and you can't predict it, but luckily we haven't had any duds. And I think with us, we design the stores to be the business drivers for us. And so I think other people really think about stores as marketing investments and they're sort of like flagships for the brand, but that's not really how they're making their money. Where at Studs, the stores themselves pay back, and we are aiming for the stores to pay back in under 18 months.
And so just to make sure that I'm clear, your like two different channels are basically your owned D2C and then your owned stores. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. And then tactically, as you think about kind of bringing that customer, like let's use the customer that gets pierced since that's like the most profitable, the highest LTV customer. One, I'm curious, like how much more on average is that LTV, compared to a customer you acquire digitally? And then tactically, I know you talked about like kind of the time lag that does occur, but what are the methods that you're using to then sell that customer more earrings or nurture that customer before it is their time to kind of continue to drive that LTV?
hmm So the piercing customer is 2 to 3 times more valuable to us than acquired a different way. And that is both because they're buying a piercing service and piercing jewelry, and then potentially attaching to fashion purchasing in the store, and then have the highest likelihood to repeat either in store or online. And sorry, what was the second question?
What tactically, like, how are you then
How are you
bringing
moving
them
them?
online? Yeah.
Yep. And so we have a whole franchise around ear education. And so ear education for us, there's a lot of there's
Did you make up that word also?
oh yeah, I love an ear pun. So anything I can ear punify, I do. It's not education, it's ear education. And so, there is it's a process to both decide where you're going to get pierced, the ear anatomy, what piercing jewelry is, and then people have a lot of questions around pain and healing. And so we really nurture people through both discovery and consideration and then through healing. And then we do have free checkups. So if something's going wrong with your piercing, which can happen, it's, a small little procedure where you put a needle and piece of metal, implant grade metal through your ear. You can come in and a piercer will see you and help you. And so we have really, really high touch customer service. And then we have jewelry changes, which, as I mentioned, is the way to kind of get your jewelry sized appropriately to your healed ear or change your jewelry. And so when you have a piercing that's in a more advanced position, that is not something you want to actually do yourself. It's actually kind of hard to take out a tragus or a doth or a conch, and you really want a piercer to assist you with that and also size you to the right hoop or the right backing. And so it's we do have both, I guess, a lot of your education and really high touch customer service to help move people through that. And then we have a great merchandising team and a great merchandising strategy that kind of helps you. And I think, with studs, just in terms of what we used to focus on, what we focus on now, Anna and I started the business. We really were merchandising based on personal style. We wanted earrings for every type of style and shop. We didn't want to be known for one style. And we really wanted you to be able to come and get earrings if you were going to a bachelorette party or a wedding, or if you wanted everyday looks, or if you wanted to sleep in them and have comfortable earrings to wear. We wanted a wide range. As we've evolved the brand and as we've learned more about our customer, we've actually, in our merchandising team, has really been focusing on what we call, and again, this is sort of insider, but like the post-piercing customer. So there's a whole world in which you have a lot of piercings that take a really long time to heal, and you need a certain type of jewelry that's comfortable to sleep in, that, so we have a wide assortment of flatbacks. We have innovations within flatbacks that are reversible. So we actually now are merchandising the back of your ear. We specialize in like chains that connect your earring. So we're really focused on getting a piercing and earscaping look versus, let's say, being a true fashion brand that's just trying to drop the latest trendy hoop. We're really focused on the pierced and the post-pierced customer. So it's a little bit of a change in strategy there.
And you were mentioning that, you and Anna wanted to start a business together because you have complementary skill sets. So, I think that that's really, really important in kind of a founder set. Curious, how you guys split up the work, what that looks like for you two specifically.
Yeah, I think, in the beginning, we just sort of were like, here's your half, here's my half. And for me, Anna background is she is a lawyer and she worked at a hedge fund, and then she worked in retail tech. And so she is our CEO and also sort of operated until recently as a COO. And she really took everything around operations, logistics, compliance, fundraising. And I am a brand strategist, a brand creative, a brand marketer. I have a design background, and so I created our store design. I created our IP around earscaping. I created our merchandising strategy. So really, really different skill sets. Anna likes to joke that I'm the reason the brand's cool and she's the reason the brand's functional, and that's probably true.
I love that. Makes complete sense. Would love to hear about a topic that you feel boldly or passionately about.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been an interesting time in the last year in venture-backed consumer companies. And I think what I've become very passionate about, and when I talk to people that are starting companies, I'm extremely passionate about product market fit and really understanding the customer and what your value is to the customer and kind of anchoring everything you do in that. I think you definitely need a great brand, and you definitely need really strong OKRs and prioritization and data and leadership. But if you do not have product market fit with your customer in this environment, a great brand and great leadership will not make the business happen. And you can actually have an amazing brand and a great business leadership team and great OKRs and really flop without product market fit. And so for me, that is something that I'm so lucky that Studs has had great product market fit from the get-go, but I also think now more than ever in the early stages, or even as you go, you also have to make sure you're continuing to have that product market fit. Has someone come on the scene, and is it changing for you? And so staying close to the customer, how the customer's behaving with your product, what's really driving your business, what will drive your business forward, I think is so important. And so I now sort of really beat that drum.
How did you know that you had product market fit? Like, what did that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, we set really rigorous business metrics for the company for us, around utilization. How many piercing appointments? Were there lines out the door? And then obviously store payback. And so for us, Nolita, our first store, we had every piercing appointment booked with lines out the door with huge wait lists to get piercing appointments. And we knew we were a piercing business. I didn't even look at the e-commerce number for the first 2 months of the business. And so we wanted to be a piercing business. That's our value prop. That's how we positioned it. And everything even around the PR and comms, we got a Vogue story and the Cut story, like this is the next generation Claire's. This is the new piercing business. And so I think we were very, very clear on the positioning and then the metrics to match that positioning to make sure we had the signal that we had achieved that.
Makes complete sense. Moving into our lightning round, favorite omni-channel brand?
I am a Warby Parker girl. That was, for me, a defining brand when I was coming up as a early employee at a startup. It is the best omni-channel brand. It is a real business that is, they've done an incredible job. I'm a customer. And so for me, that was sort of the OG omni-channel brand.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. What do you wish you could change about our industry?
I think, I mean, I think what I wanted to change about our industry is changing, where people can no longer rely on two performance marketing levers to grow their businesses and actually have to sustainably grow their businesses and really have the right brand equity to grow their businesses and have to diversify their channels. And so for me, I had wanted that to change, and that is changing. It's been quite painful for everyone, but that is changing.
It's really funny because the last guest that I had on this podcast was, head of brand at Parachute and said the exact same thing. So it's clearly changing, and it needed to change. Favorite podcast?
How Long Gone from Chris Black.
Favorite newsletter?
Line Sheet from Puck from Lauren Sherman.
Favorite social media channel?
My new favorite social media channel is Reddit. I'm a new mom. Was never a Reddit user. All of a sudden you have a baby and Reddit is everything.
I have not used Reddit for like motherhood. Tell me more.
I mean, I just had so many questions, and of course you have the mom chats, but you're up at weird hours and you want to learn about sleep training, you want to learn about breastfeeding, you want to learn about developmental milestones, but it's a really nuanced thing. It's a very vulnerable thing, and I think Reddit is such the new mom and baby stuff on Reddit was so helpful to me, and even just to have relatable stories during those first few months. And so I really became really into Reddit after I had a baby, actually.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out. I've gone deep on like TikTok for mom like
Hmm.
tips, but
Yep.
I haven't tried Reddit.
I
So
found that to be, a little bit talking at you versus Reddit is a bit more like community.
yeah, that's totally fair. Favorite book?
Oh, favorite book. Is it favorite marketing book or favorite book of all time?
Any.
Probably the most fun I ever had reading a book is Gone Girl.
It's an amazing book for
It's a
sure.
great book and a great movie as well.
Good, also a good movie. Any event that you're excited about going to this year?
Events that I'm excited about for this year. Well, we are doing a very exciting pop-up in May that I'm spearheading, and we are going to be doing a launch event for that, and I'm personally really looking forward to that. So that's probably what I'm most excited about.
Awesome. Is that in a new market?
No, it's going to be in New York.
Well, Lisa, where can our listeners connect with you?
I've been spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, so feel free to hit me up and message me on LinkedIn. And I feel like LinkedIn's having a little bit of a heyday. Maybe not my new favorite social media platform, but at least for me, I definitely feel like LinkedIn is having heyday. So you can find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed, hearing the stud story. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you liked this podcast, follow me and the Bridge page on LinkedIn and Twitter for hot takes and tactical advice. If you really loved today's episode, we'd love a review on the podcasting platform of your choice, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thanks for listening.